Well, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, we've got a little bit of news about Star Trek comics and IDW. I didn't realise this was a thing, but there was a rumour that IDW was losing the rights to produce the Star Trek comics. I'd heard this, but there's so many people trashing IDW because they seem to be one of the companies that the Comicsgate people and the chuds and all that and the fandom menace attack, and they have been forever saying it's going out of business. It's been going out of business for like last 6 years, according to them. But yeah, apparently they actually were going to lose the license, but it's been renewed, and there was a Trek Central post from at the Trek Central, so I'm assuming it's their official, I guess it's Twitter thing, and it says Star Trek comics will continue to go boldly. Paramount has extended their contract with IDW Publishing, who will continue their award-winning nominated Star Trek and Star Trek Defiance series. Now, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but because frankly, both the ongoing Star Trek series and the Star Trek Defiance series are trash. They're both dark, cynical series with these crews made up of sort of rebel sort of Federation officers, and they're sort of, doing things outside of the Federation because the Federation is bad, and they're just dark and depressing and miserable and not Star Trek and annoying. And what Star Trek fans want is actual Star Trek series comics, like ones based on Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, the original series, Voyager, Enterprise. I don't think we've ever done Enterprise except for like 2 short stories, or characters from those shows, or shows we never got, like Starfleet Academy, in the eras, although actually Marvel did do that for about 16 or 18 episodes. But that's what Star Trek fans want. But because of pressure from Paramount and Bad Robot, they're not promoting any of the old shows. They're only doing new shows or original things that are just like alt universe, Elseworlds sort of stuff, like, which is what Defined is. It's basically like people's favourite crew members are randomly pulled out of canon or out of the universe to all be on this one little ship, which is basically like, it's a Star Wars, like the Millennium Falcon. The Defined is basically the Millennium Falcon, and instead of Luke, Leia, and Obi-Wan and Han and just random people, it's just random Star Trek crew members basically, and they're just, there's also God and religion involved, and literal gods of religion. So it's just anti-Star Trek, anti-science. So if IDW had lost the contract and someone else had picked it up, this show these series would have been axed. So it might have been better for Star Trek for them to have actually lost the contract. So I'm not as happy as I would have been, say, a year or so ago when they were doing Star Trek Year 5 and Star Trek, sort of weird versions of Star Trek Next Generation and Voyager and stuff like that, based on characters from the shows and stuff like that. That was interesting. That's what fans wanted. This is not really what fans want, and it is, I think, reflected in the sales because they're not really selling well, which is what the Drekkies are the ones promoting this stuff. The fandom menace that is what they've been saying for a while, that the comics aren't selling and the place is going out of business. But they're not going out of business, but I don't think the comics are selling because they're not really inspiring people, because they're not really Star Trek stories or science fiction stories. They're just the usual bleak, melodramatic, just, yeah. So at first I was like, oh yeah, and they're like, no, if they had lost their contract, they would have had to end this series where they are, and the next person who picked it up, because they would have given it to someone else would have picked it up, and they might have actually done another Star Trek comic series that's actually, resembles Star Trek in some way. So it's the same old problem that we've got. The companies who own Star Trek see it as an IP of value, and they just want to engage the general audience by making generic science fiction and generic dramas based in space that the general audience will like, because there's more of them than there are Star Trek fans and genre fans and science fiction fans and intelligent, intellectual people. So they're going for the lowest common denominator, and yeah, it's really killing Star Trek, but really not picking up on the sales, because the general audience isn't that interested in Star Trek. They think they know it already, and you can't just, produce product and they will come. So it's Star Trek is just in such a bad situation at the moment. The people in charge don't like it, don't respect it, and are trying to totally shift away from it while still using, the IP in it and everything. So it's just this horrible place it's in, and this is just an extension of that, which a few years ago it wouldn't have been, because they were actually producing Star Trek comics a few years ago. So yeah. But they got that beaten out of them by, the powers that be, who want them to only depict things that they're selling at the moment, not the old Star Trek shows and old products that the actual existing fans actually want. So I think I've reiterated that point several times. I think I'm done. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this. Yeah.